We have heard many stories encouraging women and men to get screened. So today we're sharing the story of Alyssa Wilson. She was pregnant when she was diagnosed with cancer, and she's joining us this morning from her home in Beaumont. Good morning, Alyssa. Are you with us this morning?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. So tell us about the diagnosis and sort of how you discovered it. Did you feel something was off? Were you doing a self-exam? How did you discover it?
So, they say to self-exam, but I had never done that before. And at 24 weeks pregnant, I just so happened to brush up against my breast, and it kind of hurt. And I further investigated, and I felt a little lump. And then over the few weeks until I got to my OBGYN, it kind of started to hurt a little more. But I thought, it's just hormonal. Your body does crazy things when you're pregnant. Everything's changing, but the way that it continued to ache when I got to my OBGYN appointment, I brought it to his attention, and he said, better be safe than sorry. Let's get it checked out. It's probably nothing. And I went through the steps to get diagnosed, an ultrasound, core needle biopsy, and sure enough, it came back stage 2 breast cancer. I never would have thought, and I almost didn't get checked out. I just thought, oh, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Crazy things happen.
And is this, if this was your first baby, I mean, even if not, so many people think, I don't know what's going on with my body. Everything feels different. So, that's amazing that you were actually doing a self-exam and discovered something off.
Absolutely. I just, my main thing is I never want another woman to just say, oh, it's hormonal, I'm not going to get it checked out. We have to be proactive about our health. I'm 29 years old. I never would have thought that it would be stage 2 breast cancer. And if I would have just let it go throughout my pregnancy or breastfed, it could have, spread further than it already had.
Stage 2, can you talk now sort of about your mindset? Because then I guess your doctors had to come up with a plan to not just save your life, but your baby's life while you're this far along in your pregnancy.
Absolutely. That's kind of how I felt. I was like, it's not just me. There's 2 of us. So at 30 weeks pregnant, I was put to sleep while pregnant and had a partial mastectomy and a lymph node removal. That was kind of the first step we did to go ahead and try to get the breast cancer out, try to get the tumor out, and get clean margins. That way we could take the next step. So once all those results came back, the pathology came back, it was determined that I would need chemotherapy. So at 35 weeks pregnant, I was induced early so that I could start treatment a week later after I had my newborn baby.
Oh my gosh. Wow. And so how long ago was this? You had baby James.
Baby James was born on August 1st.
Not long ago.
We are a couple months into chemo. I've done 5 rounds of chemotherapy while taking care of a newborn, and I have 3 more rounds left before I start radiation. But, it's been a journey, but I'm just so grateful that I caught it early and that I can be proactive.
Yeah.
And, when I was so defeated when you're diagnosed while pregnant, it's just, when someone says you have cancer, that's the scariest word. You could hear, I'm 29, I'm having a baby. What do you mean? It's stage 2. And so my doctor, Dr. Jones, she just really reassured me. I'll never forget when I sat in her office and she said, I want you to focus on being a mom and a wife, and I'll focus on your breast cancer. We got this. Take the time, focus on what you need to, and I'll get the game plan together so that we can work towards a cure for you and James and your family. And that just made me feel so heard as a woman, as a mother. And it really made me okay with the journey that I was about to start with chemotherapy and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a lot on your plate all at one time. You described baby James as your rainbow baby. Tell us about that. Why is that?
So me and my husband actually lost our first son 2 years ago. And so this was our rainbow baby to kind of, we wanted to continue to grow our family. And my son, Rhett, passed away in January of 22 from a genetic blood disorder. And so we just kind of taken all the steps to be proactive, to have a healthy family. And, so excited. So when I found out I had cancer at 24 weeks pregnant, it was definitely a hit to the gut.
Yeah.
I definitely felt defeated after all that we had been through. But there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and James is my reason to fight. He's here. And even though some days it's hard to fight breast cancer with a newborn, anytime he smiles or laughs at me, I know exactly why I'm fighting the fight, because I want to be here and watch him grow up.
Exactly. You mentioned Dr. Jones from UTHealth and Memorial Hermann. We're going to interview her in just a moment. But you kind of mentioned what it was like working with them. It kind of sounds like they knew exactly what you needed.
She did. She was so compassionate, and she just reassured me that I could do this. And even though I was scared and defeated and felt like I had been given, the worst news of my life, she was so encouraging, so empowering. Every time I see her at chemotherapy, I go to chemotherapy every 2 weeks. She gives me a big hug. She wants to see the baby and update. And when you trust your doctors, it's easy to know that you're moving in the right direction and you've taken the right steps. And so she is so reassuring, and I'm so grateful for her and her team that they have encouraged me and pushed me through to get through one of the happiest and hardest times of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any advice? I mean, you're still going through this, but I mean, you look amazing, you sound amazing, very positive and upbeat. What advice would you have for other people facing a breast cancer diagnosis, especially if pregnant?
I would just tell them it feels so defeating, but you can do this and you can win. You trust your doctor and you have to do it. As a mother, as a pregnant mom, I never want another woman to chalk it up to hormones to get a later stage diagnosis. We have to be proactive about our health. We have to screen ourselves early, and we have to fight the fight, because that's what we have to do. We're mothers, we're strong, and we can do it.
Yeah, you absolutely are. I can tell. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, have a great day. So Alyssa's treatment was handled by a group of talented doctors. We have UTHealth Houston and Memorial Breast oncologist Dr. Jessica Jones joining us in studio now. Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I mean, I don't know that I've ever heard of a case of a woman getting diagnosed with breast cancer while she's in basically the middle of her pregnancy, not the very end, not the very beginning. I mean, how unique is Alyssa's case?
Alyssa's case is 1 in 8. 1 in 8 women are going to get breast cancer, but out of pregnancies, we're going to see it about 12% of the time.
Okay, so that's fairly unique. From a medical perspective, how difficult was it to decide sort of the best course of treatment or the best treatment plan? Because I hear that some people say, we're going to wait until after you deliver, because that's a lot for your body.
You're absolutely correct. Depending on how far along a woman is in her pregnancy, it also depends on the safety of her baby. So we really do need to plan all of our treatments on where she is, whether or not she needs surgery or chemotherapy, so that way we can protect her and her child.
Yeah, so can you kind of talk about some of the potential problems that it might create attempting to treat breast cancer while a woman is pregnant?
Sure. So the earlier a woman is in her the earlier a woman is in her pregnancy, the more we need to protect her growing baby. And so oftentimes what we'll do is usually provide surgery to cure a woman for her breast cancer. Now, as she gets a little further along, we want to make sure that we protect her body so her baby can still grow while she is undergoing treatment for breast cancer. So oftentimes we'll give chemotherapy in order to help shrink her tumor so that way her baby can grow.
I mean, there are just so many things for women to think about. We try to keep up with all the screenings and do everything. I can't remember if in having kids, if it was like, oh, make sure you get your mammogram like shortly before you decide to get pregnant. You don't really plan it that way, right?
No, you really don't. Alyssa's story is a very special story because in the middle of October, in the middle of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we're often talking about screening and prevention. And we're talking to women who are in their 40s and in their 50s when we expect cancer to happen. Alyssa's story highlights whenever a woman understands what her breast feels like and notices if something is not right. She absolutely needs to advocate so that way your doctor can see what is going on. Is it a problem, yes or no? So we can figure out what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any advice that you would give to other women who might have concerns about breast cancer?
Yes, I think that the biggest part to take away from Alyssa's amazing story is that every woman, regardless of our age, we need to be aware of what our breasts feel like, what is normal for us. A mammogram is meant to catch something before we feel it. But if we know what our breasts feel like, if we see something that's not right, say something. That way we can stop cancer and catch it as early as possible.
Absolutely. Not wait for those yearly checkups, because that's a long time that could take place. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on this morning to talk about the treatment of her and amazing work that you all do. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hey, KPRC2 and our community partners at Energy Transfer and Houston Christian University are spotlighting the Rose in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The Rose is raising awareness across cultures where conversations about the body and health are often silenced. You can learn about their services on click2houston.com/community.